I have to make this point here. Number one, I've been getting emails myself from idiots, or one person in particular. He keeps telling me about what goes on with Gorgeous George, and that these people within the last, I would say, a couple months, or some of them have tried to get me back on this Gorgeous George thing, and some of them even think that I just left out of whatever reason that they think. And I say, think what you want, but the only reason I have took a vacation from it was because of this Jared Genesis thing. It has nothing to do with anybody else or nothing. And I'm mentioned my mother, but believe it or not, I've had arguments with my mother on other stuff a lot similar. It didn't have to be about Gorgeous George. It didn't have to be about nothing. It could be something as similar to an item or similar to something else. Completely different. So, it's not my mother that gave me the pressure. It was the fact that I couldn't wager two projects at once. The Gorgeous George project and the Jared Genesis project. So... And as far as the people that I have as trolls currently, the only power they have is using Jared's stupidity and naiveness. And it's really Jared that has the power to destroy those kinds of people. Or discredit their shit, And when I've learned of that, I've learned not to take some of these people seriously no more. They go around and they do stuff purposely to try to get myself and Jared to turn against each other. I only turn against Jared not because of no one else. It's because of the things he's done within the last 10 months or so. The stuff he said. The things he's willing to do purposely. And at first, I thought people were a little too hard on him. And I'm learning now that it's a problem. And someone had told me that they had called Jared's house because they got tired of Jared doxing their address. And they had tried to speak to the father in the household. And basically, it got so bad that they called the house. Now, they wasn't going to do that, but Jared keeps doxing this person's address. So they called the house, and they spoke to the dad on the phone, and they said the dad was nice. And so it's just, I've seen a side of Jared that I really didn't see. And, I wouldn't probably never known to see anyway. So I guess trial and error. But as far as thinking the way some of these people think, as far as doing stuff purposely, I don't approve of sending pizzas or going to cops for false reporting. That's something I would never tolerate, and I would never even condone. If I find out persons that do that, I would report them personally. I would not sit there and allow it to happen and gossip over it. I would do something about it, because that's somebody's life and somebody's place that you're fucking with. And it's not only that, you're fucking with people that live that in the same place. But to make it worse, you're wasting businesses that are making real money. And pizzas are not really easy to make. Some people work in the hard stove, and some of them are delivery men. So it's just, the kinds of shit that happening and the sick things that some people do just to get kicks out of stuff is stuff I just really detest. Now, getting to these people, the Gorgeous George trolls. These people I've had on the offside of the Gorgeous George Project channel had dealt with them in a negative way. They had caused problems for me. And learning now that they had caused some trouble for Jared Genesis. As far as making phone calls for no reason, just playing games. And instead of just... if you're going to call a house, make sure you call with something that is of intelligence. Don't be just calling somebody's house and harassing their parents over something that's nothing, And one person even admitted to that, and he admitted it back in February. And the thing is that one of the reasons I stopped dealing with these people or try to get away from these people or even got away from the Gorgeous George Project channel because these people were getting a little too obsessed in a negative way. I learned now within the last 3 years at that time in 2018 that these people were using me for kicks. They wasn't using me for helping. They wasn't using me for nothing. One of the things that George is only right on is the fact that these people just use me for a hobby. That's all it is. There was no friendship. There was no nothing. And I've learned that not only dealing with them on Facebook, but I've learned that just throughout just the YouTube ordeal of the time that I did the Gorgeous George Project channel. And I will say this, and I'll make this very clear. I'm not saying that everybody that is a part of that group is bad. I'm not saying that everybody are, but there are some people that I dealt with personally on a personal matter that are sick and that are willing to do anything to try to either ruin someone's life or just make something out of nothing for fun. And that's the kind of people that are dangerous. The ones that are able to do things that are very, very, you can call it life-threatening or close to it, because anytime you're able to do some of the things that I've seen and heard, it's ridiculous. And for me, I just said in my mind, I'll lay off this Gorgeous George Project channel and I'll deal with this Jared Genesis thing, because I picked up in my mind that if I do that first, then when I go back on the Gorgeous George Project thing, then it kind of helps a lot. Because regardless of what anyone does now or what they think now, my offer still stands. And I would go as far as saying this to anybody, even if I win and even if I lose. If George decides to do the shit that he did in the past, as far as taking videos of mine down, I will do something about it. I will make phone calls to my local authorities for harassment, because that's all it is harassment. I mean, when you make a video about a person, that doesn't mean that you're communicating with that person. I never communicated with George. I did recently on Facebook, and that was only back in September of this year. And the reason why I did that was because Jared puts out something saying that he knew Gorgeous George and stuff. And I'm thinking, I wonder, does Jared really believes that this is Gorgeous George? And that's not Gorgeous George. That's Marty Hungren for that. That's that guy. But yet, you know, he not. You know, it's just the thing is that he believes whatever he believes, and that's just the way it is. And I'm not saying this because of this guy and the way he's speaking stuff about me to Jared. I'm speaking because as far as Jared is concerned, I noticed that some of those people have actually kind of lay off of Jared and move on to their own, I guess, things, agendas regarding George, pretty much. And I guess as long as George providing the bacon for these people, they'll focus on him more than they do on anything else, which is good on me, or which is good on the other side, basically. Some of these people, now there are some people that were nice. Then there's some people that were nice that turn on me, and that they turn on me for some of the dumbest reasons. And they'll try to make lies and make it look like that I wasn't a reasonable person about these sort of things. But believe it or not, I was. I would do video responses personally to some of these individuals. I would even explain myself to these people and try to get it as best I can. But people, you know, you can only go for so much as far as convincing people. And I said in my mind, if you people really were on my side, you wouldn't be doing what you be doing in the hostility that you're doing. So I learned later on that, and it took me a couple years to learn that these people were really against me. You know, it took about a couple years to learn that they were never on my side. The only thing that I can agree with Gorgeous George is that they were never on my side. They were never on my side at all. They were never my friends. They were never even close. They were not even remotely close. And I noticed this before, but since I was new to the internet world, you know, there's always what's called trial and error when you're a beginner at something, or beginner to a sort of intermediate sort of thing. So there's always there's a thing called trial and error. So, you know, learning the things, knowing the things, and knowing that I know now. If I knew it back then, I definitely would have not really commingle with anyone at all, or if I did, it would be just using them the same way as they were using me. And that's the point. Just the thing is that some people, you know, if they allow me to make peace with them, I try to make peace with them. And what I mean by this is, if they come with me with certain respects, they don't have to like me. They don't have to totally like me at all. But just simple human stuff. It just takes that just all together. Then, you know, we're not friends, but you're here to listen. You're here to understand. And apparently you have some respect and give some fuck about other people other than what you've known or seen for yourself, or other than yourself, which 90% of those people are not that kind of group. What I found within the last few years, back in 2018, was I learned that there was no good and evil. I learned that it was evil and evil. There was neither no good or bad side. Or actually, there was no good on either side. It was just chaos either way. So, rather if you look at Gorgeous George as a good person, or rather if you look at these people that formed themselves as a group dedicating to this Gorgeous George character as a good person or a bad person, from my own experience, these people are not either way. George is just about the same distance as these people, and these people are just about the same distance as he is, and the stuff that he would do, they do. So they could do just about anything. And if George has that same powers that some of his trolls have, I have no doubt in my mind that he would go around doing half of the stuff that they're doing to him, because that's just the kind of stupid person he is. He doesn't learn from his own experience. Yet he'll just repeat them as if he never was taught them, and he'll use every excuse in the book and every stubborn thing. And I used to think that this guy could be helped, but no, he had his own mind. He refused to see things for what they are. He doesn't care. And unlike Jared, who just, I think, has other problems, I will say without a benefit of a doubt that George Alexander Yarrett II is a psychotic maniac. He's a psychotic narcissist. And I say that not because to impress these people. I don't care about these people. I have the comments on this video set where it's just this video because I don't want nothing to do with these people. I really don't. In fact, I might just disable the comments altogether, because I don't want people from that side to come to this channel. I'm only doing this Gorgeous George thing because I feel I should respond to this person that keeps emailing me, which I had to block and them from emailing me. So when they email me, it gets in the spam folder. And I know and familiar with some of the stuff they tried to do, and to catfish you for stuff they want you to fall into. And I don't give a damn. I mean, the same person emails me, right? And he uses a different account, and he says to me about some guy named Billy Baxter, and I just said to my mind, I don't care less. I could care less about this guy. I say the most he was good for me was just learning these lessons that I'm talking about in this very video. Learn what to do and what not to do again, because I'm not kidding. That's one person I would not want to be around. I would stay away with them. And other people like Mr. Hungry, I would not. I don't want nothing to do with them. People like Sean Brennan. I mean, I can't think of too many people, but I say Sean, Marty, and then Billy, and some other people I don't really know the fuck of that I wouldn't want nothing to do. There are some people that I wouldn't mind having something to do with them, not as friends, but just as far as just welcoming them to my own channel once I create the Gorgeous George Project channel again. I still got the videos on my external hard drive. The problem is that I just haven't. I've really been focusing on Jarrett within the last year and a half. I'll say within the last year I focus on Jarrett more, because this guy, I had a premonition about him, and I went into it several times. If some of you've heard of me speak about it, I went into it several times. I've had premonitions on things since I was a kid, before I even knew what premonitions were. I never really did anything with psychics, or never knew nothing about no witchcraft. I don't believe in that crap, nor I want to be. So I end up with something that I believe I was born with, and just curious to see if I'm right about it. Just by dealing with this guy, Jarrett. I mean, I tried on my own to contact him on Facebook. I tried on my own to communicate to him verbally through videos. Would not listen within reason. And even when someone was calling Jarrett's father and spoke to his father on the phone, you know, Jarrett is still to this day doxing people's addresses. Even though someone called his house and was talking about some of the things that Jarrett is doing, and it's still happening. So there's nothing that no one could do, that except the only real way that Jarrett would, I don't know, you know, really truly, there really is no good side into that matter. If you think about it, if you take away Jarrett's computer, that's not going to change him. He's just going to get worse and worse. You're just adding fuel to the fire. There's no kind of rehabilitation or no kind of lesson. It's pointless. There's no kind of system out of it. Just taking someone's computer away, that's nothing. That's nothing. And that person is 33 years of age or 32 years of age. You shouldn't. Why in the world would you ground somebody and they're 33 years old? Now that's something ain't right, whichever way you see it. Whether if you're trying to avoid aggravation for yourself, I think that there should be some kind of relation skills to work things out as adults, as far as family is concerned, and whether if you're a father or a mother. So, but again, I guess that phone call, I think fell to deaf ears with Jarrett, as far as Jarrett Genesis. I mean, he believes what he believes. He thinks that Chris is somebody that is this bad guy that has these henchmen and that's deliberately doing stuff, which is totally a lie. And somewhat I used to believe in this too. Chris did stuff, but some of the stuff he did I didn't approve of. Some of the stuff he did was within his opinion and stuff. So either way, you know, whether if you look at it one way or not, you know, I was surprised that Chris tried to make peace with me. He actually, a couple times he visited my channel and tried to talk with me. He tried to talk to me like a human being, which 90% of these people that are part of this Gorgeous George stuff would not do. They would not do at all. And, you know, I didn't come to Chris. He came on to me, and he started talking. We talked about video games for about maybe a half hour or an hour. I'm not sure. I think it was maybe a half hour. I want to be safe to say. And it was really an eye-opener for me, because to stay that long and talk with me and keep me company for a half hour when I had one person that was spamming me, it shows about the fact that people are capable to have patience and understanding and learning and take the time to see what things are really are, as opposed to what they first think of in their first impressions on things. I mean, you may come over to a person's house, for an example. You may say this person's dirty because of the way they set their stuff on the shelves or the way things are in a house. But you may not even know what's going on, or the circumstances of that person. Though what that person is doing in their household is not clean as far as a unsafe environment for their children or animals, but people have problems where things just happen. And the only way to address those problems is to acknowledge them to that person and helping them. Which I'm not talking about help, but I'm just speaking as far as just any form of being human to people. Anybody could have done this. This is so simple. Marty could have done it. Sean could have done it. All these other people could have done it, but they chose to be ignorant as they are. Therefore, I want nothing to do with them. And I find it strange that sometime, I think the first year, 2016 or 15, I looked at Sean as a mentor, because at some point he was the only person in the scene that told me the truth about my videos. He was the only person that really was like, he would give me these no nonsense kind of comments about my videos. He was the only person, while everybody else, like Captain Corpulence and others, would say a bunch of shit, that really wasn't for what it really is, as far as stuff I didn't really deserve, credit I didn't really deserve. Sean was the only person that kind of criticized me for what it was and for what it is, as far as with me and my videos. And that's why I looked at him as a mentor, because he was about 20 years older than I was. He just had that mentor kind of attitude when he projected himself in the way he did, whether he sees it or not. And I don't give a fuck if he sees it that way. I am aware that he is a complete dick, and I would want nothing to do with people like that with a 10-foot pole. And my first impressions of Sean the first time was exactly the same thing. And at first, when he was being nice to me and was being straight up with me, at first I thought I was wrong about him. But then when I realized later on that some of this stuff possibly, I think some of it was genuine, but I think part of it was sort of in the name of doing better videos regarding Gorgeous George, which had nothing to do with anything else. So I think part of it is genuine, where he really was honest, but the other part that's not genuine is that his motive was, if you're going to do videos about Gorgeous George, make sure that you do it in a way that's good for us to see. And that's my opinion. I could be wrong on that opinion, but so be it. As far as I'm concerned, whenever you talk with these people, and I'm going to mention them, what if it's Marty, what if it's Sean, or some of these other people, they be so obnoxious with you the first time. They don't even know how to, they don't know. And anytime a person says that somebody like George doesn't deserve no kind of help, you know that they're just as bad as George. Now, yes, George is a bad guy. George is just as much the same and could be more capable if he was smart enough. Could be more capable of doing half of the shit or all the shit as you motherfuckers done, as far as going overboard, following him everywhere he goes, public access wise. Now, some of this stuff I took stuff on just for the fact that I want to know more about George when I go back to him. But the thing that you people do is that you go overboard. You follow him to his car. You would think that him losing his house and him not having the lawsuit going well is good enough. But no, you have to step it up a notch by dominating somebody's life. and just kicking a line when it's down. I don't believe in that. I believe in raising the person up when they're high at best, and then you can have a challenge in a battle. Just this is nonsense where you kick a line where it's down. Of course, it's going to be an easy battle for you because that person's just not capable of fighting because of an illness or because of something, that's happening, or circumstantial things. Of course, you're going to win. That's not a fight. That's cheating. And anybody that thinks the other opposite of what I'm saying, I would want nothing to do with them at all. It has not. And let me just say this: I don't care for Gorgeous George. Because as a person, I try to respect him the same way as these people, in terms of me trying to respect his trolls. But he, just like those people, have done just about the same shit with me. The only reason George would want to subscribe to my channel is just to use me for information or try to just say things purposely to catfish me into his own personal games and to add some extra person to his camp. He did it, I think he did it with some people. Or actually, he didn't do nothing with that person. That person just got mad and left the goons. But he used Gorgeous George's anger towards these people as an advantage to try to get back at these people, which didn't work. And this guy, Matt Wilson, it didn't make some. I mean, I don't know much about his business, but this is what I understand of the situation. But as far as I'm concerned, with me, it's just personal. I mean, I would get emails from people in the past. They say, "Well, don't expect for George to be on your side." I said, "What in the world are you people trying to insinuate?" I mean, like, you really think because I'm against you that I'm going to be on George's side? And George thinks the same way. He thinks that because I'm against these people that I'm going to be on his side, or against, or let's just say if I'm against them that these people will take my side. No, I don't care about these people no more. I've surpassed them. I surpassed the hurt. I surpassed the disappointments and the performance of those. I don't want nothing to do with them. Some of them will probably still contact me regardless, which is why I will offer them the email address that I will provide. I will not allow them to comment on my videos. I will not allow them to do nothing. I will not give them the grace and time. They're the worst human beings you can ever deal with. Not all, but some of these people. I mean, people make mistakes, and I don't hold people's mistakes against them. The only time I do is when you keep doing it. It's when you keep doing it that is the problem. When a person makes a mistake and they're sorry for it, it's past. It's not going to happen again. Even if a person that makes mistakes, depending on the matter, is minor, you may have patience to put up with them until they're better with themselves. But in these people's cases, the circumstances of the mistakes they're making is just confusion and outright hurting people and harassing people and bullying people and calling up other people's houses and sending things, doing stuff, unnecessary stuff. I don't believe in that, and I'll never believe in that. And I don't care if anyone thinks I'm a Jarrett lover or a George lover. You can think whatever the hell you want. I speak it for what it is. If you want to if you want to lie about me, go right ahead. But it's your lies that's going to be your undoing as far as the truth and karma. Because someone else can look at your point of views of your videos and your antics about George, and they can say that you're crazy just getting involved in what George does as far as him losing his house. I mean, isn't that a little bit too close for comfort that one video where George visited his former place, which is now under new ownership, and yet Mike Saunders comes in and talks about the Gorgeous George show? I find that to be a bit inappropriate, because here's the thing. This leads me to believe that Mike Saunders probably follows George for wherever he goes to. And that's crazy. That's batshit insane. Like, it's one thing that you lose your house. It's one thing that everything else sucks in your life, but it's another thing that you have a paralegal that you found on some classified website or ad, and yet this guy turns on you and bees that very person that you are fighting against, the other side. So, whether, I mean, I don't give a fuck what kind of financial success that this guy has, or how much he doesn't, or what record he has or doesn't have. It doesn't matter if you have a criminal record or not. You could not have a criminal record. You could make all the money that you want and don't have to be the best person on this earth. You could be the worst human being, even though you're not by law a worst human being, but you could be dubbed as the worst human being. And I considered that what Mike Saunders and George to be a train wreck. If Mike Saunders had a problem with George verbally abusing him, then he should have handled it appropriately. I have never heard in my life of all this stuff happening to this guy, and it's just, a part of me feels sorry for him. I really do. But the other part that tells me this, that I have no doubt in my mind that George Yared would have just if he would have had things together, if he was halfway successful like these people, would have done the same stuff. That's the problem. You know? I mean, and I don't believe in returning evil with evil, you know? I'm not that kind of person. I would never do that. It's not a religious reason or dogma that I have. It's just that kind of person I am. I just don't believe in it. I mean, I will say that if George comes over, as far as my channel that I have in the future, and starts doing that shit that he's doing with flagging my videos down, every time I do it, I will call the police, and there will be a lot of police reports against him every time he does it. And if you think I'm playing, I'm not playing, because I'm tired of it. I went to YouTube over about a dozen times about this, and they never listened to me, but yet they listened to this guy up in Richmond, Virginia, who seems to play games so much. And now, since he's not in the situation that he was before, he's not able to do as much as he could. So, I mean, I don't give a fuck. I mean, everything that I've had in my mind regarding this project has been the same as yesterday. It's just the only difference is I am on this Jared thing, and I don't give a fuck if someone thinks otherwise. I've seen people that said, "Oh, he's completely finished with us." What do you mean us? There was never us. There was never no us. The only thing that was with me was just this George character. This was way before you people even came in the fucking scene. So what do you mean there's a us? There was never an us. The only thing you people were was just a fucking hobby. And you were not only a hobby to me, but I was a hobby to y'all as well. And you wouldn't even admit it. And I'm not, when I say this, I'm not speaking for every goon member. I'm speaking for some of these people that are opposite of what I think, and that are just like people like Hungren and Brennan and other folks like Markland. You know, pretty much, those people, I would want nothing to do with them, because I went through a lot of stuff with them, trust me. And the stuff that George is bitching and whining about ain't worth half of the piss or buckets that he shit in, because really and truly, the only thing that's going to be is just futile. It's futile, you know. And I would suggest to George, if you're confident about something so much, stop being a narcissist and move on. And I would say this to George, I would ask you to go and get a psychiatric evaluation, since you tell me to get a psychiatric evaluation, which I've had in 2007. And let me tell you, I was more than willing to know all the stuff I should have learned. It's just I've been misguided by the system, school system. So I would suggest to you that if you think, or if you have this doubt that you're not a narcissist, why don't you get a psychiatric evaluation and send that you could have used that $500 probably to do that. and evaluate yourself, my friend, and give yourself an evaluation. Hire some psychologist to evaluate your videos. Have them see the things you say, even your videos regarding your detractors. Have them see everything. Have them hear the other side of your enemies, and I can guarantee you they'll tell you that you're a malignant narcissist right in your face in a professional manner. There's no question in my mind that you are a malignant narcissist. You are a malignant narcissist. You're the definition. I've watched a video about malignant narcissism, and almost every subject that was either between killers and people that done stuff was malignant narcissism. And the behavior traits were exactly the same as your traits. Believe it or not, exactly the same way. And if I can piece everything, if I don't know much about editing, like I said, the only thing I just learned is how to blur out pictures. And here's the funny thing, and this is what really ticks me off. It's when you have to thank people that you don't like for helping you. And I did. I think it was about a month ago. I thanked Sean Brennan for the stuff he had recommended me getting for editing. And I talked about that I had these videos sat on my I had these editing video software sitting in my closet for 4 years, about 3 years, man. Never used them because I was just simply afraid that the money that I spent was probably be for nothing, where I wouldn't be able to resell those. Because at that time I couldn't sell anything for shit. And also, it got to the place where I got tired of making videos in a way that I don't know how to make videos. So the most and what's strange was I learned on my own how to blur out pictures. I learned on my own. I really didn't look at a tutorial. I just messed with some buttons. And this is coming from a person that really can't read, but seeing things similar to things before that allows me to do stuff that I do, which kind of goes back to the reverse side of it, is that if you don't know this stuff you should know, it kind of affects that as well. There's a reverse side to that. So I spoke the reverse side of it. The thing is that I shocked myself when I did this one video, and I guess the only thing that Sean did is he wanted to make himself an attention whore by putting this video out saying that I didn't make that editing video, and I just ignored it. I don't care. I mean, I was sincere with what I said, and I thanked him for the softwares he told me to use in 2015 that I bought in 2016 and was afraid to use them, and I got tired of so many disappointments in my life. Like George Garrett, I have disappointments too. I am a fat loser as well, and I can clarify myself as similar or just really a loser, just like Gorgeous George, and I am, and I'm a loser just like Gorgeous George, and that's just the way it boils down to. And I'll continue to say that because it's not only the TGDMFT, but it's the TGDT, the goddamning truth. Because if you can't accept for what it is, because it is for what it is, then it's damning you motherfuckers. And it's damning the George Garrett and George Jetta. People say George Gina, I call it George Jetta. George Jetta Garrett. If at best, only at best, to describe this mess. No other than the TGDT, no other than the TGDMFT and the TGDMT and every other MF in the scene, if at best. And so, I don't know when I'm going to ever do the Gorgeous George project thing, but I got the videos, even though they suck. I don't care. I prefer to put them on because that's all I got left as material. That's all I ever have left. And it's history from extending from my own mistakes and experiences that I feel they are somewhat therapeutic in a somewhat positive matter. I'm going to go. I want to spend about 40 minutes on this, and I did. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.